We've all heard of the 9 worlds in the great ash tree, Yggdrasil, the cosmic structure that holds everything together. But what if this story isn't just about distant realms or ancient creation myths? What if it's a living reflection of the worlds within us, each layer mirroring a part of our own spirit, our struggles, and our connections? In Norse cosmology, every realm has its place and purpose, and every crossing between them reveals something about transformation. Today, we'll journey through these worlds, not just to understand where they are, but what they mean, and how we can walk their paths in both myths and in ourselves. Welcome back to Fireside Frith, a hearth for Norse pagans and the curious alike. I'm Susanna Wandering Star, a kindred leader and local Githia, here to share stories, wisdom, and real talk about living our path today. Whether you're a longtime heathen or just curious about Norse spirituality, you are in the right place. If you want to dive deeper, visit www.theozatruecommunity.com for resources, classes, and community spaces. You can also join our public Facebook group by searching for the True Community Inc. Today, we're going to be talking about Norse cosmology. To understand the 9 worlds and what they represent, we have to go back to the beginning, to a time before there was any world at all. Before Yggdrasil stood tall, before gods or giants or even time itself, there was only Ginnungagap, the great yawning void between fire and ice. From that emptiness, creation was born through contrast, heat and cold, life and death, chaos and order. The first being, Ymir, emerged from that meeting, and from his body the worlds were shaped. His flesh became the earth, his blood the seas, his bones the mountains, and his skull the sky. From his sacrifice came the structure that holds all things, Yggdrasil, the world tree, whose roots and branches connect every realm of being. So as we talk about cosmology today, remember, this isn't just a story of what the Norse people believed was, but of how they understood the flow of existence itself. Part 1. The mythic structure of the 9 worlds. In Norse mythology, the cosmos isn't a single flat realm. It's a living, layered system held together by Yggdrasil, the world tree. Every root and branch reaches into a different world, and together they form the balance of all creation. The Norse didn't think of these worlds as distant planets or literal locations, but more as interwoven layers of reality, the physical and spiritual realms and connections between them. So today's episode, at least the first half, if you have been pagan for a long time, you might already know these things. So it'll be more of a review. If you have anything you'd like to add, go ahead and leave a comment if you're on Spotify or YouTube, and we can talk more in depth, because who knows, maybe I'll do a cosmology part 2 later on. And that could be a more advanced dive into this topic. Before we jump into what the 9 different realms are, I'm going to divide them into 3 different sections, I guess. So the first one, we're going to talk about Asgard, Vanaheim, and Alfheim. These are considered the upper realms. Not necessarily that they are physically higher or whatnot, more so that we look up to the beings that are in them. So let's first start with Asgard, the realm of the Aesir. High among the branches of Yggdrasil lies Asgard, the home of the gods of order, courage, and wisdom. Odin, Thor, Frigg, and their kin. Asgard represents purpose, discipline, and the pursuit of knowledge. It's the realm of vision, the part of us that seeks meaning and strives to understand the greater universe. So we have Vanaheim. This is the homeland of the Vanir, and these gods would be Njord, Freya, and her brother Freyr. These are beings of fertility, nature, peace. This is where we get those agricultural themes. Vanaheim embodies harmony and abundance, the cycles of growth, and the wisdom of living with the land instead of against it. Where Asgard governs the mind, Vanaheim tends to the heart. Lastly, in the upper realms, we have Alfheim, the realm of the elves, or the light elves, depending on translations. Alfheim shines with ethereal beauty. The elves here are radiant beings tied to inspiration, artistry, and illumination. They're the whisper of creativity, the spark that lights our imagination. Alfheim reminds us that inspiration is divine. It's how we touch something greater through music or art or crafts. Next, we have the middle realms, and we'll start with Earth, or Midgard. This is the realm of humanity. This is our home. It sits in the center because it is Midgard, middle guard. This is middle of the line on all axes. So this is the meeting place of all the worlds. Its name means the middle enclosure. It's protected by the gods from the chaotic forces beyond. Midgard represents balance and responsibility. We live between the divine and the primal, constantly navigating the space between creation and destruction. Beyond Midgard lies Jotunheim, the land of the Jotnar, powerful, chaotic beings who embody nature's raw, untamed energy. If you're listening to the audio-only version, I'm putting the quotes. They're not evil, but they're forces of change and challenge. Jotunheim reminds us that growth often requires struggle, that chaos is also sacred in its own way, and chaos is almost always a guarantee. It's how we navigate through the chaos and remain resilient to that change is kind of where the beauty in that lies. Moving right along, we have Svartalfheim, or Nidavellir. I don't know how to say that word, but that's just how I'm saying it. Anyway, the dwarves are known as master smiths and keepers of hidden knowledge. They are the shapers of divine tools like Mjolnir, Gungnir, Draupnir. This world represents the transformative power of craft, how pressure, patience, and fire forge metal and soul. Moving on to the lower realms, we have Helheim, the realm of the dead. Cold and shadowed, Helheim lies in the depths of the tree, ruled by Hel, daughter of Loki. It's not a place of punishment, it's a place of rest. It's where most of the souls go when their time ends on Midgard. To be remembered, to be honored, and to be communicated with still through things like Seidr or Galder or dreams. Helheim teaches acceptance, the peace that comes from release and remembrance. Next, we have Muspelheim. In the south burns Muspelheim, the realm of fire and primordial energy. It's ruled by the fire giant Surtur, whose flames will one day end the world at Ragnarok, only to begin anew. Muspelheim is destruction and renewal, the spark of creation that both gives and takes life. Next, we have Niflheim, which is the opposite of Muspelheim. This is a realm of frost and mystery. It's ancient and still, full of fog and memory. This is the realm of beginnings, where the icy rivers first met the fire of Muspelheim to create new life. Niflheim reminds us that from stillness and shadow, new life emerges. When we piece all these worlds together, we don't just see a map of the universe, we see their worldview, one that recognizes tension, contrast, and interconnection as sacred truths. But how did they come to see the cosmos this way? Where did these stories originate? And how did they shape daily life, ritual, and identity? Well, let's step away from myth and into memory and explore how cosmology was understood in the historical and cultural context of these people. Part 2, the ancient roots and cultural parallels. The Norse cosmology we often talk about today, the 9 worlds, Yggdrasil, the realms of the gods and the giants, it comes to us primarily through the sources like the Poetic Edda, the Prose Edda, written down in Iceland during the 13th century. But these stories are much older than the Viking Age. They echo through oral traditions that likely stretch back into the Bronze Age or even earlier, before Christianity spread throughout Europe and before the sagas were even written down, possibly even before the sagas happened. People told these stories around hearth fires and burial mounds. The imagery of a great tree connecting heaven, earth, and the underworld is far older than any single text. It's part of a deep Indo-European current of belief that links many different ancient cultures. Beyond the north, we can find echoes of the world tree not just in ancient Scandinavia, but across the ancient world in general. The Finnic people spoke of Ilmatar and the cosmic egg floating in the sea of creation. In the Baltic regions, there were tales of sacred oak that connected the sky god to the mortal world. Even the ancient Slavs had a world tree, its roots in the underworld and its branches in the heavens, with birds perched at the top and serpents coiled below. These weren't isolated ideas, they were different expressions of the same human instinct to make sense of the universe, to find order in chaos, and to locate ourselves within something vast, expansive, and alive. It's easy to forget that myths like these were never meant to be fantasy. They were science for the time. It was the best working model of the cosmos people had before telescopes, before the understanding of physics, before all of the modern technologies that have shown us what our planet looks like and what our universe looks like. When the Norse spoke of Muspelheim and Niflheim, that fire and ice world meeting together in the void of Ginnungagap, they were describing creation in terms of the elements that they knew. In a way, it's not far from how modern science describes the universe's birth, the heat and the matter emerging from a singular moment of chaos. These myths show that even before modern instruments, humanity had a profound sense of balance, cycles, and the interconnectedness of all of these different themes. The cosmos was not random. It was alive and full of meaning. For the Norse, the universe was never static. It was constantly in motion, the creation and destruction, order and chaos, growth and decay, a common theme you'll hear in Norse paganism, I'm sure in other types of paganism, is that instead of life being linear, it's more cyclical. And we see that reflected in these stories of the cosmos. This worldview shaped how they lived and how they worshipped. Every offering, oath, and act of craftsmanship reflected the belief that everything was connected through the threads of weird, the living web of cause and effect that bound gods, humans, and the land itself together. Yggdrasil wasn't just a cosmic tree. It was the embodiment of all life, all fate, and all time, a map of both the visible and unexplainable worlds. And even now, the ancient way of seeing still speaks to us. It reminds us that knowledge and mystery don't have to be opposites, that awe and understanding can exist side by side. As we explore Norse cosmology today, we're not just studying mythology, we're reconnecting to the way our ancestors looked at the universe as something living, not just a myth. Part 3, Modern Reflections, Living Within the Web. When we talk about cosmology, it's easy to think of it as something ancient or distant. 9 worlds in a mythic tree, gods we no longer see, that whole thing. But cosmology at its core is about how we understand our place in the world. Something I keep repeating is that the Norse saw existence as interconnected. It's not a straight line, but a web. Everything was bound together by the threads of weird, influenced by our actions, choices, and relationships. And that idea still holds incredible power today. So now I'm going to briefly touch base on a few different ideas of how we can look at the cosmology and see how it's still relevant today. And the first one is interconnection and ecology. I know it sounds crazy. How did we get that out of here? Think about how we view the Earth now. Modern science tells us that ecosystems are interdependent, that one species disappearing can ripple across an entire biome. The Norse would have understood that instinctively. When we see Yggdrasil as a symbol for the living world, the roots in the underworld, the branches in the heavens, and all the creatures in those realms depend on the health of that tree. It becomes more than a myth. It turns into more like stewardship. Every offering poured to the land of Vitir, every libation to the ancestors, is an act of ecological awareness, an acknowledgement that we are part of a much larger system, not standing above it. Our next theme is finding balance between the worlds. The 9 worlds also reflect balance: fire and ice, order and chaos, spirit and matter. The Norse knew that life depended on maintaining harmony between these forces, not destroying one in favor of the other. In our own lives, that balance shows up in how we handle work and rest, creation and destruction, giving and receiving. The same forces that forged the cosmos still exist within us. We just experience them very differently. Now it's as emotion, growth, or transformation. When things feel out of control, imagining the 9 worlds in balance with their roots and branches steady can help ground us. It's a reminder that chaos is natural, and from it, new worlds are born. Chaos can happen. It's natural. It's how you choose to evolve or grow with it. Another way we can utilize the knowledge of Norse cosmology is in meditation, journeying, or dream exploration. For those who like to work with meditation, trance, astral journeying, Seder, any of those practices, the 9 worlds offer a map for inner exploration. Each realm represents a different aspect of being, from the shadowy depths of Helheim to the radiant heights of Asgard. And by journeying through them, we can uncover parts of ourselves we may have forgotten. Side note here, I made a slideshow for my Kindred's discussion group, and I use pictures and I make people take turns reading because it helps us stay on task, right? And in my 9 Realms of Norse Cosmology slideshow, I put in this slide that was find the right realm for your journeys. And I'll put a screenshot on our Instagram of this so that you don't have to write it down, because I'm going to tell you right now. And these are not necessarily unique themes to me, but they are things that I've through talking with other Seder practitioners and other people who dabble in those kind of personal practices, this is the list that I've come up with. I also want to point out that this is just my suggestions. This isn't law. If you want to travel to one realm for something that I don't mention, that's totally fine. It's your spiritual journey. I'm just giving you some options so that if you want to try something new, you have just a little bit of guidance. Even if you find out it doesn't work for you and you want to try something else, that's totally fine. Let me know in the comments if you practice this or if you would like to practice it, or if you need any help getting to that mind space where you're ready to practice it. So anyway, here's that slide, finding the right realm for your journey. Your options are Asgard for seeking wisdom, divine connection, or leadership. Vanaheim, healing, fertility, abundance, and intuition. Alfheim for creativity, inspiration, working with light energy. Midgard, grounding, balance, daily life reflections. Jotunheim, facing fears, personal challenges, and shadow work. Svartalfheim, manifestation, craftsmanship, and hidden knowledge. Muspelheim, passion, destruction of old patterns, transformation. Niflheim, rest, purification, and embracing the unknown. Helheim, ancestral work, acceptance, and understanding death and rebirth. Some practitioners visit the realms in meditation or Seder-style trance to work through trauma, connect with their ancestors, or simply explore their own consciousness. Others will use lucid dreaming as their gateway, stepping through dreamscapes that echo the 9 worlds. Whether you treat it as a spiritual exercise or a psychological framework or a creative experiment, journeying through the cosmology can be a powerful way to understand yourself on a deeper level, to see which worlds you spend the most time in, and which ones call for healing or balance. Also, let me know in the comments. I've been toying around with this idea for a while of creating guided meditations that are themed around each of these 9 realms. That way people can just look it up on YouTube and listen to it and, maybe help them get to wherever they're trying to be. Basically, I used to be a musician full-time, and now that I have all these other things going on, I would have to have somebody else record it because I just don't have time for that. But if that's something that enough people would like, I would be very willing and open to making meditations that are Norse flavored, or at least pagan flavored, because I don't know if you've ever looked for a meditation to do, like a guided meditation to do, and it's a little more woo-woo or spiritual. It doesn't really hit home in the Norse way or in the heathen way. And sometimes that stuff pulls me out, and it'll either put me right to sleep and I won't actually get to experience a meditation. And yeah, just let me know and I can make that happen. Now that I've squirreled and gotten lost, for our modern reflections, we had the ecology, finding balance, meditation or journeying, also dream exploration. All right, we have a few more. We have cosmology as creative inspiration. The Norse cosmos also lends itself beautifully to art, from the runic tree of life to the swirling fires of Muspelheim or the icy mists of Niflheim. Each realm holds imagery that begs to be expressed. You may paint or sculpt your own interpretation of Yggdrasil, craft jewelry inspired by the worlds, write poetry that follows the roots and branches, or design ritual tools that embody certain realms. Even abstract work, colors, textures, sounds can bring the cosmology into being. By creating from this place, you're doing what the ancestors did, turning myth into matter, turning imagination into something that lives. Next, we have ritual and sacred awareness. Cosmology can also influence how we approach ritual. When we call to the gods, we're not summoning beings from up there. We're reaching through the branches of the tree and forming connections across realms. Pouring a drink to the earth connects us to Helheim and the ancestors. Lighting a candle that reaches towards Asgard, sharing food, laughter, and community is an offering to Midgard itself. Every small ritual act can mirror the structure of the cosmos, reminding us that the sacred isn't somewhere far away. It's threaded through everything we do. And something I heard from a different podcast, one of their listeners wrote in, was like, how do I live a more magical life or a more spiritual life? That's like, well, do everything with intention. If you are aware of these things, that these small little ritual acts could also be offerings to Midgard, or if you want to light candles when you eat dinner, think about that flame being sent up to Asgard. If you think about things that way, it'll start to make you feel like these little acts are special, they're sacred, and you're bringing that sacred from myth into your personal everyday life. This is the last thing, as far as modern reflections go, is personal reflection. And I know that sounds similar to the meditation things and stuff like that, but not everybody wants to do that altered consciousness type of practice. Some people want to actively journal or think about these things or utilize it in therapy. So as far as personal reflection goes, you might consider taking a quiet moment to imagine your place amongst the web of weird. Where are your roots? The people and the activities and values that ground you? Where are your branches, your hopes, your dreams, and acts of courage that reach towards something greater? Seeing yourself as part of Yggdrasil's living network can shift your whole perspective. You're not alone in your journey. You're a part of the same sacred system that connects the gods, the ancestors, and all beings. The Norse worldview reminds us that cosmology isn't just a story about where the gods live. It's a mirror showing us the interconnectedness of our inner and outer worlds and everything in between. In the next episode, we'll move from the architecture of the universe to the map of time itself. We will explore fate, weird, and the weaving of destiny, and how those threads shape both myth and modern practice. As we reach the end of this journey through the 9 worlds, take a moment to breathe and to feel your own place on the vast cosmic web. Whether you see the realms as myth, metaphor, or something far more real, their lessons still speak to us. Balance is sacred, connection is power, and even the smallest spark of life plays a role in something immeasurable. Every time we light a candle, offer a prayer, or simply pause to appreciate the turning of the seasons, we're reaching across the branches of Yggdrasil, adding our own story to the tree that's still growing. So, wherever you are in your journey, may you find strength in your roots, clarity in your branches, and wonder in the spaces between. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Fireside Frith Podcast. If you enjoyed your journey today with me through the 9 realms of Norse cosmology, don't forget to follow and subscribe wherever you listen and share this episode with your community. Sources for this episode are the Poetic and Prose Eddas, Norse Mythology for Smart People, and the YouTube channels of Norse Magic and Beliefs, Arith Harger, and Ocean Keltoy. Until next time, may your path be steady, your heart open, and your weird well woven.